Let's go, it's the Whitey Show. Whitey Show. Whitey Show. Whitey Show. Whitey Show.
Which part, old man, that ain't got time to shake your head? Get that side check, put it in pockets till I get back. Going downtown.
Transformers! Robots in disguise. I'll stop. Transformers is back, and sadly not done by High Moon Studios. As a super fan of Fall of Cybertron, I really wanted to get the conclusion of these games. The third installment, the one. We're not going to get that, probably ever. Not that shitty-ass game, though, that we got last year. Whatever the fuck that was, who cares? Anyway, then I heard Platinum Games is going to make an action beat-em-up Transformers game, and I felt a little better. But then I thought it could turn out like Korra, because we all know how that one. Does anybody remember that? No? Good. Please don't ever remember that. So, how does Transformers stack up? Let's get to it.
Which part, old man, that ain't got time to shake your head? Get that side check, put it in pockets till I get back. Going downtown.
Let's start off with the great, actually. There's wonderful cel-shaded graphics here. This feels like I'm watching the cartoon of Transformers, and that's a wonderful thing. The way they move, the way they fight, the explosions, and even the throwback look make this title really stand out. I absolutely love the look of Fall of Cybertron. However, this one is the most faithful to the original old-school Transformers, and fans of the original are just gonna eat it up. The gameplay centers on this beat-em-up combo action, hitting baddies and stringing together moves all together with some sweet finishers and specials on top of that, keeps it entertaining throughout. Fear not, it's not as shallow as Korra, thank God, but sadly it does lack the depth of Bayonetta, but that's because it adds so many other elements in the game, such as transforming into a vehicle obviously, and using guns. This game gives a healthy dose of switching up the gameplay, and while the roster is small, at least each character feels pretty unique. The music and voice acting is near perfect. It feels so much like Transformers. It's like I went back in time and I was watching my favorite Transformers episode when I was 4 years old. That's truly a wonderful feeling in terms of atmosphere and music and voice acting. So great job on that as well, Platinum Games. But the last thing I gotta throw in there is the RPG factors. The more you fight, the more you level up. You find gold, which you can use to upgrade your characters, combine weapons. You'll find them to power up certain weapons, and of course add on tech attachments to make your character even more badass. So overall, collecting and becoming stronger in an action game is a must, and this one does it pretty damn well. Talking about all these good things, we gotta come down to the bad, and there's really only two things that stand out, and one being pretty major. First off, let's talk about the environments, because they're really dull for the most part, and when they get interesting, it's gone before you know it. You're on either Earth, which is pretty to look at, or in space, which can have some really neat areas, while the majority of the other areas are just big, empty, white rooms. This might not be a big deal if this was like a $20 game, but it's pretty noticeable for a full-price game. And that brings me to my second fold here. This is the big one, guys. For 50 bucks, this just doesn't have enough content. I beat it in 4 hours and 34 minutes, and it's a ton of fun while playing, but I had absolutely no urge to jump back into this. Like I said, the environment's meh, and once you get past the fun, cartoony story that it's giving you, there's real no reason to play it again, for me anyway. I combined enough weapons, I used enough characters, and when I was done, I was really done. I just had no reason to play this, and it's less than 5 hours. That is way too short. We need at least 8 to 10 hours of a main story in an action.
Which part, old man, that ain't got time to shake your head? Get that side check, put it in pockets till I get back. Going downtown.
Overall, Transformers Devastation is a fun game to pick up and play. It makes you feel like you're playing with your favorite action figures and use some intense fucking super attacks against the Decepticons. However, it's very short. And unlike spending 20 bucks on 3 figures and making your own stories up for an infinite amount of time, you're treated to 4 hours of gameplay with really no reason to come back. So while fun and a great throwback at times, it just doesn't have enough content to actually replay, so I can't recommend this as a must-buy at the gate. But when cheaper or renting is perfectly reasonable because it's a lot of fun. So I'm going to give this a 7.5 out of 10. Transformers fans, you probably already picked this up. Everybody else, at least check it out in renting or picking up when it's cheaper. Whitey out, and Transformers, keep making good games because, God, if you go back to shitty games, I will slap you because that shit that I played last year, ugh. Peace.